Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Coming Out Cosmic podcast. My name is Nowinski, ET contactee, awakening coach, founder of Coming Out Cosmic. Please do not mind my son laughing in the background if you hear him, or maybe he will be crying. I don't know. He's 1.5, so he just kind of goes through all those emotions. This podcast is for those who are questioning reality, those who love to talk about the strange and esoteric, those who are open-minded, those who have had contact experiences. We talk a little bit about everything on this podcast that the majority of people are uncomfortable talking about because, let's be honest, we have not been conditioned in this society to accept that the majority of things we talk about is actually quite normal. So if you can relate to what I'm saying, then you are in the right place. I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about during this podcast episode. I have just recently discovered this new gift of channeling extraterrestrials. I say new gift because it is something that I'm newly tapped into as a skill, but I do believe that this is something that I've always had. I also believe that this is something that you can do too. It's just something that needs to be practiced and believed in. And when I say channeling ETs, yes, I mean Bashar style, where you have an extraterrestrial come into your consciousness and start using your brain and using your terminology to say different messages. This actually spontaneously happened to me on my last podcast when I started just spontaneously channeling the Lyrans, and I was explaining the process during that episode of what was happening and why I felt to share some sort of message. And essentially what happened to me, if you didn't listen to that podcast episode, is I was feeling an energetic tug literally on my mouth to say something, to speak something. I knew that there was a being around that wanted to say additional stuff before I got into the meat of my podcast episode. And we ended up hearing a really awesome message from the Lyrans, who are deeply connected to me. I believe that if you're listening to this episode, you are most likely deeply connected to the Lyrans as well. Sometimes people call them Lyrans or the Lyrians or the lion people. For this episode, I think that I just want to set the intention that the Lyrans come through and they share whatever sort of message they have for humanity. I'm feeling like they want to talk about deja vu. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to get comfortable just for the listeners' understanding of what's about to happen. I am going to intentionally call on the Lyrans to deliver messages through me. I have a whole energetic protection that I will share with you as I'm recording this episode. But I also wanted to share throughout this episode, I am going to fast forward during the points in which I'm pausing and not saying anything, because I feel like it'd probably be boring for you to just listen to nothing for a little while as I sit and make a connection. So I want you to know that the channeling process is a lot more slow paced, patient than what this episode may allude to. I think that's the only thing I wanted to say before we get into it. I'm already feeling a tug at my third eye, so there is a message here to be said. So let's get into it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm grounding my energy. I'm imagining that I have a divine white light channel through my cosmic star, going all the way up into the cosmos, going all the way down throughout my body, down into my earth star, into the center of the earth. I am imagining white light all around me. I have an energetic bubble of protection all around me, around my household. I am a divine channel of a light source, beautiful, high vibrational, joyful energy. I intentionally only invite in those beings who are of the highest vibration for the highest good of all involved. Any low vibrational being is not allowed in my space whatsoever. I call forward the Lyran beings to present any messages that they have for this audience at this time. Yes, these are the Lyran beings, as Christine mentioned. Hello, everyone. We are very excited to be here today speaking on this podcast because we know that there are many listeners who need to hear this specific message that we have for humanity at this time. We wanted to note, though, for newer listeners who might be listening on YouTube, you may notice that Christine's head is moving around a lot and her eyes are closed. This is very typical of a channel. We want to acknowledge that because we realize that this is new for a lot of you guys. We also want to acknowledge that there are quite a lot of pauses throughout different messages that we are sending Christine, and this is because she is getting used to the practice of channeling. This is a practice, this is something that all human beings are able to do. We would like to get into a pretty important message for humanity right now. As you all know, there are major shifts occurring. There's major messages being shared, being downloaded to humanity in almost an urgent type tone. We want to encourage you all to think about everything that's going on in this world right now, feel into everything that's going on. We are talking about the more shadowy aspects. We are talking about the Epstein-files. We are talking about everything that is coming to light, all the darkness that's coming to light. We want you to feel into it, and we want you all to know that everything is going to be okay. We say this with urgency, and we hope that you trust this message. We hope that you trust this channel, aka Christine, because it is very important for humanity to know. Again, we repeat, everything is going to be okay. Do not fear what is to come. Do not fear what is happening in this world, because it is all going according to divine plan. There is nothing that is going to stop the unraveling of the disillusion that humanity has been suffering for a very, very long time. There is nothing that is going to stop it. Do you understand? Right now, we are in quite a momentum of speed moving forward of this darkness being unveiled. And so you will see over the next couple of months, actually leading into the spring equinox, that humanity is going to be in quite a stage of chaos, of unraveling of a lot of information that they did not even know was possible, that is so dark and beyond words, beyond your human mind, beyond the imagination of the human mind. It is just simply incredible to understand and to try to believe all the darkness that is going on. And that is why it is so important that we step forward and give you this message right now, that everything is going to be okay. Do not get swept into the darkness. Do not get swept into the disillusionment. Everything is going to be okay. We are mentally showing Christine a picture of the moon card in tarot, and we do this because we know that a lot of her listeners are actually into these esoteric practices of reading tarot, etc. This is the way that Christine mostly connects to these messages, through tarot cards, because she is a tarot reader. And what we are trying to describe here with the moon card is all about illusion. It is all about the nighttime and not being afraid of the nighttime, not being afraid of the illusion, but recognizing that it is there. We are also showing her a mental image of a wolf. The wolf is an incredible animal that you all could actually call on as a spirit guide right now, and the wolf symbolizes great strength and the ability to bare teeth when needed, but also to have great care for their young when that is needed as well. And so that is what we would encourage you all to do right now, is to embody the spirit of the wolf and to embody the moon card in tarot. And this, coupled with the recognition, the acknowledgement that you are simply a human being having an experience right now, can help aid you during this time of great agony, of great defeat, of great deceit. Know that you are not defeated. You are actually in the middle of incredible spiritual wars right now that have always been put on the table to happen for many, many, many eons of years. So please understand that it is incredible that you are here right now witnessing this in the third dimension, this unraveling of darkness. It is nothing to fear. In fact, we would encourage you to lift up people around you. If there are other people who looked at you differently because you were, quote unquote, a conspiracy theorist in the past, and now you are the truth bringer, and your ego revels in that identity, your ego is excited to share with your friends and family, haha, I told you. We encourage you to not do that. Actually, that only fuels and serves the ego, and the ego is no longer going to survive in such strength as it has in the past, in humanity's past. We are not saying that the ego is going away anytime soon, but we are saying that more people are waking up to the idea and to the potential of human capacity having so much more to do with greater things than the ego. And so we encourage you to not draw upon the strength and the courage of the ego, or so the ego thinks. We are encouraging you to draw upon the strength of the soul right now, and to bring forward love and unconditional compassion and forgiveness to those who did not believe you in the past. We understand that many listeners of Christine of Coming Out Cosmic are actually the truth tellers, but they are also the ones that are labeled with tinfoil hats. We do acknowledge this, and unfortunately, yes, that is a sting. It does sting to be called a conspiracy theorist. It does sting to not be believed, but it is very important for you to know now, to know right now, it is not important to be believed. It is important only to be heard, to be seen, to be felt. It is not important to be believed. Do you understand? We cannot control whether or not people believe us. We can only control how we make them feel. And if you feed into the ego and allow for people to be afraid, now that you are the one who is correct about the Epstein files, about the conspiracies that are within the Epstein files, if you feed into the ego, you are only feeding into the disillusionment, because the disillusion here, the illusion here that you would be feeding into is the fact that you are separating yourself from, let's say, that person who believed separately, who did not believe you to begin with, who did not believe you about the Epstein files or whatever the case might be. You are only feeding the ego. You are feeding into that separation mindset. And the truth is, we are all one. We are all one, and we're all here for simply experience. And it is important to note that we are also here for the rise of the consciousness of humanity, and feeding the ego and telling others, haha, you were wrong and I was right, is not the way of the new earth. It is not the way of a rise in consciousness. And so we would like to very, very much deeply urge our fellow listeners to have so much compassion for those who are struggling right now, those who have wronged you in the past, those who have said, oh my gosh, you are crazy, you are wrong, you wear a tinfoil hat. Please understand that those comments are only coming from fear. It is coming from their ego. We are not looking to serve the ego anymore. We are looking to serve the soul. Your soul is hungry for the truth, and your soul will get the truth. We assure you that the time is up. These reptilian beings who are behind this disillusion, and it's not just reptilians, but we say that because we understand this audience mostly knows Christine from her reptilian content. These reptilian beings will have justice. Justice will be served. You must believe and understand that it is not you. It is not for you to try to serve justice by pointing to others and saying, haha, you were wrong and I was right. That is not how we serve justice. We serve justice by being compassionate with each other, by being forgiving with each other, and by understanding that this is all for the benefit of experience. If we were to leave off with another message here for humanity, we would want to say that you are all doing amazing. You all have great inner strength right now, and it is not easy to be hearing some of the darkest truths of the hidden agendas of the elites. We understand this is not easy, and this is still a mind fuck. We literally will pull vocabulary out from Christine's mind, and that's why we said that. So pardon our French, but this can literally be a mind fuck for some people. And please understand that this is all part of a greater plan. This is all part of a greater plan. You are here for bigger and better reasons, and don't let this little tiny blip of the Epstein files ruin your evening, ruin your life, ruin your relationships. Do not let it, because you're only feeding into that moon card. You're only feeding into the illusion. We really hope that you understand that. Now, Christine is asking because we understand that this is a message of hope and of upliftment, and we also understand that the majority of the audience would like to have tangible validation and confirmation of some of the things that came forward in the Epstein files. And this is not meant to fuel the ego. It may fuel the ego for some of you to know that you are correct about some of these topics, but we wanted to mention this anyway because it is just interesting for you guys to understand. Now, please recognize that we are giving you this information simply so that you can hear it. We do not want you to chew on it or digest it or dissect it for too long, because that is only going to be feeding the illusion. So we do validate some of these things for you because it is very important for you to know these things so that your soul can hear it, and you must then release it and let it go, surrender, and move forward on a brighter path. Do you understand? We do hope that you understand. Christine is asking about the allegations with McDonald's, and we want to clarify the allegations with McDonald's. Most of the allegations about McDonald's are correct. Being that Christine has not actually read the entire millions of paperwork that have been released with the Epstein files, we cannot go back into the different pages and all the different conspiracies about McDonald's that are out there. We can only go back into the conspiracies of what she has heard, because that is the information that is in her brain right now. We can only channel information to her that is in her brain. And so as it pertains to human meat being in the burgers of McDonald's, you must understand one thing, and we do not wish to perpetuate fear, so we are going to be a little bit more blanket statement with this information here, you must understand that for those people who are attracting low vibrations in their life, low vibrations such as trauma, such as fear, such as anger, they are the ones who would attract that type of sustenance in any form. What we're trying to say here is, if you are a person who is generally of a very low vibration, it is most likely that if you are to consume meat, you're going to consume meat that is of a low vibration already. So that could look like a cow that was tortured. That could look like a bird that had a very horrible environment when it was alive and thus was in a low vibration when it died. And when that meat then becomes meat and still has those low vibrations within from those emotions, because our cells still hold emotions, our cells still hold memory, and this is true for animals as well. The person that is going to attract that type of meat is going to be somebody who's low vibrational themselves. Because you guys are light workers, most of you people listening to this podcast are light workers. We do believe you guys are very high vibrational souls. It is highly unlikely that you ever attracted any sort of meat from McDonald's that was of that low vibrational quality, that was of that low vibrational human meat of somebody who had been tortured by the reptilians or some other type of entity, because yes, other entities are involved here. You do not have to fear consuming human meat if you are a human yourself that's high vibrational. This is the only thing that we wish to say about that circumstance, as we do not want to perpetuate fear. That is not our mission. We are here to hold light, but we understand that human beings are very curious souls and they do want the truth, and this is the truth as we perceive it, the Lyran beings translated through to Christine. So please take this as it resonates. You must understand that every channel has a different energy, a different flavor of presenting information. We do not mean to say flavor because of cannibalism. That is Christine coming through right now to kind of lighten the mood. Oh my goodness. We go back to our point here as being the Lyrans, that you must always just take what resonates, because every person has a different way of channeling information. You are a channel yourself. You can channel information about the Epstein-files, about McDonald's, about anything that you want, and just always take what resonates, because that is the only way to know the truth. Your intuition is your only truth compass. You are living your own specific reality. It does not actually matter what we, the Lyrans, have to say to you about any of this, about the Epstein-files or any uplifting message that we have. Please understand that you create your reality with your thoughts and beliefs, and with what you consume, any sort of media, podcast that you consume. So if you resonate with this, wonderful. And if you do not resonate with this, then that is just as wonderful too, because we are all on our beautiful own bright paths. And we wish you all so much love. We actually have the Blue Avian stepping forward. So one moment here. These are the Blue Avians. Hello, everyone. We wanted to make a surprise appearance on this podcast because we just love listening to your stories through Christine's perception, of course. We love to tell our own stories through Christine's perception, of course. And with this, we would like to tell a story about McDonald's. Now, us as the Blue Avians, we have to say that please understand, extraterrestrials do also have a bit of humor here. And so we are here to try to lighten up the mood, because we can tell that the vibration can be low talking about such things such as the Epstein-file. So here we are. We want to share with you a little bit, a little story about McDonald's. Did you know that extraterrestrials are actually very jealous of humans for being able to try different salty, tasty foods such as French fries from McDonald's or a McDonald's hamburger? We actually really would, we envy the 3D human experience of being able to eat food. Sorry about that, guys. It is Christine. I am back. My son interrupted my channel with the Blue Avian, so hopefully we'll be able to bring them back on a different podcast episode. I wonder if you can feel the difference between the Blue Avian energy and the Lyran energy, specifically how my pace was, how my voice was, etc., because I definitely feel a difference with them. I'm speaking quickly here because I have to end this podcast because my son is in need of his mom right now. From my perspective of that channel from the Lyrans, I could tell that they were like they really urgently wanted to share that message with you guys. And although I don't remember everything that was said because the information channels so quickly through me, I will have to listen to this podcast episode myself and see what resonates with me and what doesn't resonate with me, for example. Please understand that channeled information doesn't always necessarily mean that I agree with it. So I'm very curious to see what the Lyran said, although most of the time I definitely agree with what the message is that is coming through. Although, wait, I do have to say, the Lyrans had told me to stop drinking as much caffeine because it's actually messing with my mental stimulation, and that is something that I don't agree with, okay? Maybe that's the reason why I talk so freaking fast. But anyway, wow, I did not expect them to want to start talking about McDonald's. I do remember that part. So let me know, did this episode resonate with you? It'd be interesting to know if you have any comments on this video on YouTube. Maybe next time we'll go into what the Lyrans have to say about the NFL being fixed. I don't know. You guys should leave some comments about what different types of episodes you would like to hear from the Lyrans moving forward. And without further ado, I am going to end out this episode. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to rate it 5 stars. It really helps me. And I will see you guys in the socials. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.